Hello everyone. So in the last class we had spoken about the different conformations of normal alkanes. If an alkane has been given, you will take the center two carbons and then you will try to draw the conformations of that alkane by using the Newman projection or the Sawhorst projection. Apart from that, we had also spoken about the stability of those conformations, which lies where in the potential energy graph, dipole of these conformations, and then the relation between the Newman projection and the Fisher projection. So that all we had discussed in the last class. Now today we are going to talk about another important topic of conformational isomerism, and that is conformational analysis of cycloalkane. So you get questions from this part in your competitive exams, and this is a very important part. So basically, if you remember when I was discussing the angle strain, at that time I told you that the cyclic structures are unstable because of the mismatch in the required angle for sp3 hybridization and what they actually possess. So if I talk about cyclopropane, let's say, in that case the desired angle for sp3 is always 109 degree 28 minutes, whereas the angle which is there in the cyclopropane is 60 degree. Similar is the case in case of butane, so it's 90 degree and so on. So and at that time I told you that when you talk about cyclohexane, it is supposed to be the best or the most stable cyclic structure. Though if you look at the plane of the paper, you draw the cyclohexane and you will figure out that the angle is 120 degree, but it's not 120 degree because cyclohexane rearranges itself, goes out of the plane, form a puckered shape in such a way that now the angles are angle between carbon and carbon, carbon and hydrogen is 109 degree 28 minutes exactly. Okay, so it follows the exact angle required for maintaining the sp3 hybridization. Hence it has no strain, no angle strain, and hence it is the most stable cyclic structure. And that is why the higher cycles and the lower cycles try to move towards the cyclohexane. This is all we had discussed in angle strain when we were talking about cycloalkanes. Okay, now we have to understand cyclohexane, what all different conformations are possible, which one is stable, which one is less stable, which one is least stable, and where do they lie in the potential energy graph, and when it comes to represent the conformations of cyclohexane, how to represent them. Okay, so let's begin with the cyclohexane. Cyclohexane's general formula is C6H12. So that all of us know, this is C6H12. So your carbon chain will be made up of 6 carbons and every carbon will have two hydrogens attached on it. So if you'll write it on the plane of the paper, you will write it like this. This is how your cyclohexane will be represented. But as I mentioned, and again I'm mentioning the same thing, that when it comes to show it in the actual 3D diagram, it is a puckered shape and it is a non-planar molecule. Okay, so when I say non-planar molecule, it will take the chair shape. Chair shape is the most stable shape of your cyclohexane. And chair, if you look at this chair is something like as if you have, this is where some individual is lying. Okay, just take it like this. Okay, so it's like this and this. So basically lawn chair sort of thing, where there is a headrest, then there is a straight thing, and then there is a leg rest. So this is how exactly your cyclohexane chair look like. Now let me show you exactly in the three-dimensional molecule, how does it look like. So if I talk about cyclohexane, my cyclohexane, if it is planar, it will be all 6 carbons in the same plane. I have here in this 3D diagram, I have not attached any hydrogens so that it will be less clumsier and you will be able to see and analyze much better. Okay, so this is my cyclohexane. I have, if you'll see it from the front, it is like this. Okay, it is like this. So basically the carbons are not in plane. The top carbon, bottom carbon, these are not in plane. Okay, now if I show you sideways the way how it has been drawn in the diagram, this is how it is. So you can see this is the headrest. Okay, and this is the area where this is the headrest, this is the straight thing, and then this is the leg rest. That's how exactly your chair form looks like. This is your cyclohexane chair. Okay, please look at it very carefully because you will have to use this visualization every time when I'll be talking about the cyclohexane. Okay, so you should have it in your mind. This I have shown it over here so that you can understand how exactly chair looks like. You look at it as straight molecule, it is like this. Okay, but if you look at sideways, just like this. So this is your chair conformation. Okay, now as I mentioned that your C6H12 has 12 hydrogens. So now we have to place these 12 hydrogens also in such a way that each carbon follows the tetrahedral shape and 109 degree 28 minutes ka angle. Okay, now how these hydrogens will be placed, I'll show you one by one, but before that let's quickly understand how to draw this structure, because because sometimes it can be a little confusing while writing the cyclohexane conformation. So you just have to remember two things. Though I have used a proper straight line drawing and all that, doesn't like I have used a scale sort of thing to draw it, but when you, I'm right now going to show you in a very rough way, exactly same way you have to follow when you're drawing it in your notebook. So it needs not to be extremely perfect, but the basic structure should look like a chair structure. Okay, so basically what we do is we draw one slanted line and then a little down here, and basically you are making a Z, that's all. Okay, so you're making a Z. So this line and this line is going to be parallel to each other, and then move it inwards here and here. So this is how exactly your chair should be. It's a little clumsier for me because I have not used the scale and I can't draw the straight line here. The lines are not straight, but this is how it is. So basically two lines. First of all, make a Z, this line, a little slanted one, and then up here this line and this line should be parallel to each other. Then you start drawing it as if you're trying to make a headrest and you're trying to make a leg rest. Okay, this has become little upwards. I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say. My drawing on, especially on this notepad, is becoming really bad. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll place hydrogens one by one. So first of all, when we talk about hydrogens can be placed in two directions. One is, let's suppose I have taken this molecule, this is my cyclohexane, I have an axis going in vertical direction from the center. So 6 hydrogens out of 12 are going to be placed in such a way that these are parallel to that axis which is passing through the center, or you can say which is in the vertical direction. All the hydrogens, all 6 hydrogens out of 12, 6 hydrogens are going to be in parallel to that axis, and that's why these hydrogens are called as axial hydrogen. Axial hydrogen means the hydrogens which are in parallel plane, or you can say which are parallel to the axis which is going through the center of your molecule. Axis, that means vertical axis. Okay, so vertical axis, let's say going from the center, the 6 hydrogens you will place one on each carbon, which will be parallel to the axis which is going through the center. Let me show you the structure on a 3-dimensional model. I have drawn it already, but how does it actually look like? I'll show you here. Okay, so let's see. This is the cyclohexane which I had shown you just now. This is my leg rest. Okay, let me just rearrange it a bit. And this is my headrest. So look at it. I hope you guys can see. This is headrest, this is headrest, this is leg rest, this is the center, right? Now look at these hydrogens. The white color bonds which are coming out with the white balls are hydrogens. Okay, so what we can see here is, assume there is an axis passing through the center, this hydrogen, this hydrogen, this hydrogen, down 3 hydrogens. All these are in the parallel to that axis. Now I think mine is a little distorted because I have used it for double bond and triple bond, so bond itself is not very straight, but that will be exactly straight. At least you can get an idea what exactly it is going to form. So this is how it will be. So if you can see here, carbons have alternate positioning for these hydrogen bonds. So if one is up, another is down, then one is up, then another is down, then one is up, and then another is down. So that's how exactly it is. This is your head, this is your head, this is your leg, and this is the center of the chair. I hope you are able to visualize. This is down here, this is up here, and this is the center of the chair, right? So one bond up, one bond down, one bond up, one bond down, one bond up, and one bond down. This is how the axial hydrogens are arranged. This is how exactly you'll draw it in your diagram also. So when you are drawing, you can start with any number. You can count any number as carbon 1. Assume I have begun with this carbon. This is my carbon 1. If this is pointing down, carbon 2 will be pointing up, carbon 3 will be pointing down, carbon 4 will be pointing up, carbon 5 will be pointing down, and carbon 6 will be pointing up. Not carbon, basically the hydrogen, the axial hydrogens will be pointing up, down, up, down, up, down alternately. Okay, so now let's see this thing in the diagram. So if you can see here, I have started my numbering from this carbon. This is my carbon 1. First mark the carbons. Okay, this is carbon 1, this is carbon 2, this is carbon 3, 4, 5, and this is 6. So I have marked it this way. You can mark it either way. You can start from any carbon, but make sure you follow that throughout. That means your marking should not change, because when we'll be doing ring flipping and when we'll try to form different other conformations, in that case, if the numbering is varying, then you yourself will get confused. So fix one type of numbering in your mind, that from where you want to start the carbon 1, and you should follow throughout always that numbering only, so that you never do the mistake. Okay, so I started from here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 carbons done. Now let's suppose I started placing hydrogens in the axial direction from 1. I had put hydrogen up here. So for second, this is my second carbon. Look at it. Hydrogen is pointing down. For third carbon, it is pointing up. For fourth carbon, it is pointing down. For fifth carbon, it is pointing up. And for sixth carbon, it is pointing down. This is what I have done. Nothing different. What we had seen over here, exactly same thing. I have done it on the diagram also. Okay, so this is 1. So we are done with placing 6 hydrogens. These 6 hydrogens are axial hydrogens, which are in the parallel plane, or you can say parallel axis, which is going through the center of the molecule also. That axis is vertical axis. Okay, so that's how exactly these 6 hydrogens will be placed. Now let's see how next 6 will be placed. Next 6 will be placed in an equatorial position. So basically, if an equator is going from the center of the molecule, so you can say a horizontal sort of line, then with respect to that, with not exactly parallel to that, but yeah, almost on the equatorial positions, your hydrogens will be placed. So basically, these hydrogens will be flat, as in like on the horizontal plane, not exactly parallel, but will be on the horizontal plane, not the vertical plane. Okay, so now let me show you this in the 3D diagram again, so that you can visualize better, and then we will see in 2D how I have drawn them. Okay, so now this is our 3D diagram for cyclohexane when the hydrogens are placed in the equatorial position. So I have shown you the axial position hydrogens earlier. Now I'm showing you the equatorial position. So equatorial means these are horizontally placed, not exactly parallel, but yes, they are horizontally placed. So I hope you are able to see the conformation. This is your headrest, this is your leg rest, and this is where I have put my hand is the body rest. Please look at it carefully. I hope you are able to see it. If I'll hold it like this, are you able to see? Okay. Now look at this carbon. So I have not removed the axial hydrogen from here, so that you can relate it much better. And these blue ones are the equatorial hydrogen. So all of them are hydrogen, but just I have changed the color so that you can understand, visualize much better. So this is my chair conformation, and here comes my what do you call it? Axial hydrogen, and this is my equatorial hydrogen. Okay, so if you look at the equatorial hydrogen, this is on the almost on the horizontal plane, right? I mean, when you're drawing it in 2D, then you have to represent it as a horizontal plane, but ideally not horizontal. This is proper tetrahedron. If you see this carbon, it is following the exact tetrahedron structure. One here, one here, one here, and top here. Everywhere the angle is 109 degree 28 minutes. Just look at it. So hydrogens were up and down till now, and now they are aligned to the sideways. If you just notice one thing over here, I just want to show you one thing. So I was holding my cycle like this. Now let me just shift it so that I can show you something. This is how I'm holding, and this is my upper headrest. Okay, so I'm moving it here. I'm just showing you some arrangement over here. So this is my hydrogen, which is on the axial position. This is my hydrogen, which is on the equatorial position. Look at this hydrogen. This is my hydrogen on the equatorial position, and down is the hydrogen which is on the axial position. So if you just look at it very carefully, what you can see here is whenever your hydrogen is pointing up in the axial position, the slant of your equatorial hydrogen is little downwards, Just see here. This is my hydrogen and this is little downwards, right? Whenever you have hydrogen which is down in the axial position, then hydrogen is little up. Then the equatorial hydrogen is little up. Look at the alignment. So here this is little up. It is there in the with respect to the horizontal plane only, but not exactly straight. It is little moving upwards or little moving downwards. So this is downwards because this hydrogen is upwards, so this is little downwards. This hydrogen is downwards, so this is upwards. Okay, so though it doesn't matter over here, these have been designed, these models have been designed in such a way that automatically your every carbon will get a tetrahedron shape. But when you're drawing it in 2D plane, in that case you have to be extremely careful. So how we are going to do it, just see on the slide how I have drawn my equatorial hydrogens on a 2D plane, because you won't be getting model all the time. You have to actually use your own visualization and then place the axial hydrogens and equatorial hydrogens accordingly. So let's see. I'm going a little slow over here. Just take your own time to understand. So I'm starting with the first carbon here. Look at the first carbon. The first carbon's hydrogen is upwards. So I will draw the hydrogen little on the horizontal plane, but little slanted, either slanting down or slanting up. The slanting down means when the axial hydrogen has been placed up, the equatorial hydrogen will be placed down. Down as in not vertically down, horizontally slanted down. Okay, so look at it, what I have done over here. So I have put hydrogen not exactly on the horizontal plane, a little slanting down, right? Look at the second carbon. Hydrogen is down, so my equatorial hydrogen will be little upwards. Okay, you can see it over here. This is my second carbon. Now move to the third carbon. So basically it's not about even horizontal. You have to give the tetrahedron shape to your molecule, and for that these are not exactly horizontal, but these are slanted angles. Okay, one is moving up and other is going to be, we all have seen how the carbon or sp3 model looks like. So one goes up and then three attachments are like this. So exactly that is what we have to try doing it over here. So this hydrogen is up, so this hydrogen is little down, slant down like this. Okay, similarly look at the fourth carbon. Fourth carbon's hydrogen is down, so your hydrogen is little slant over here, upwards. Look at the hydrogen on fifth, it is up, your hydrogen is slant here, slanting down. Look at the sixth carbon. In sixth carbon the hydrogen is down, so with respect to it, it's not exactly, you may not find it horizontal over here because this is a 2D plane, but you can see it over here. In this, everything what we have drawn is on the is very horizontally placed. It's not like it is not vertical. So these angles which are on third and sixth, the hydrogens look like these are vertically placed. These are not vertically placed. This is how exactly you can show it in a 2D picture. You cannot show it proper horizontal. So this is when this hydrogen bond is moving down, your hydrogen equatorial is slant up. Okay, so practice a bit. It will require a bit of practice, but you will get a perfection. When you are putting both together, then it is relatively easier. Okay, so now club both of these structures, the first one and the second one. The first one which has axial hydrogen and the second one which has equatorial hydrogens. Now when you will club both, what will happen? Then you can actually analyze and then you can write, okay, this is going up, so my next hydrogen should be down, because you have to give the tetrahedral shape to each carbon, because every carbon is sp3 hybridized. So I have represented axial hydrogens with the yellow color and the equatorial hydrogens with the pink color. So this is my axial hydrogen, this is my equatorial hydrogen. Just look at it. When you know both the things you have to place, you can easily do it. So this is up, this is down, this is down, this is up. Now look at this is carbon 1, this is carbon 2, this is carbon 3, this is moving up, this is hydrogen slanting little down. So basically you're trying to give the tetrahedral shape by placing both the hydrogens in a right manner. Now exactly same way, go to the fourth. In fourth, the axial hydrogen pointing down and the equatorial pointing little upwards, Go to the fifth one. The fifth one, hydrogen moving upwards, the axial hydrogen moving upwards, and your equatorial hydrogen moving downwards, right? Look at the sixth carbon, the hydrogen moving downwards, axial hydrogen, and your equatorial hydrogen moving little upwards. So that's how exactly you have to place. Even if you don't understand up and down, at least you can see in this case it should get the tetrahedral shape. At least for axial you will be able to understand that the hydrogens must be placed in the opposite directions, parallel to each other, but in the opposite directions. That's how you have to place. Placing axial is easier, placing equatorial is little complicated, but once you draw the axial hydrogens, then it is easier to place equatorial ones, because you can relatively draw the hydrogens, equatorial hydrogens, to give it the tetrahedral shape. Okay, so this is how your cyclohexane chair form will look like, which will have 6 axial hydrogens and 6 equatorial hydrogens. So I hope you would have got it. What are axial hydrogens, what are equatorial hydrogens, how to represent them in a 2D plane. This is important because we will be using this information going forward. So next, let's talk about chair flipping. So basically, chair flips and becomes the flipped chair. So if you look at the 2D structure, this is one structure which we are following till now, okay, where there is a headrest and leg rest and so on. And then if we flip the molecule, you can see this is first carbon over here, this is first. So headrest is this side now and the leg rest is this side. So basically it is this flipping of the molecule. But mind it, flipping of the molecule doesn't mean the rotation of the molecule. So let me just show you what exactly flipping means, okay. This is my chair form. Right now in this students generally get confused by the term flipping. What they do is they just rotate it upside down, okay, and then they say this is flipping is done. That's not exactly the flipping means. This is rotation, okay. Now what exactly flipping is? Flipping means the carbons will rotate at their bond in such a way that headrest will become the leg rest and leg rest will become headrest. Okay, in fact all the hydrogens which are bonded to them will rearrange themselves. Okay, so now look at it, what I'm doing. Just look at it. I have moved this down. Okay, so this headrest is now in the process of becoming a leg rest, and this carbon which was leg rest has become the headrest. This is called flipping. Just look at it very carefully. What I have done, let me show you again. Okay, let me just show you again. You can watch it again. This is my headrest carbon. This is my leg rest carbon. What I have done, don't think only these two carbons are moving. All the carbons are moving through the single bond. Okay, though visibility is only for these two, I'm just moving two, and automatically others are also rotating through the carbon bond. Okay, so this headrest, I'm making it leg rest by moving it down. Okay, and this leg rest is going up and becoming headrest. Is it visible now? Are you guys able to see this, what I'm doing it over here? Now again I'll flip this. This will go down again, okay, and this will go up here. Just see. Are you guys able to see? This is now again my headrest and this is again my leg rest. So this exactly is flipping means. Now why we have to understand how does it flip? We have to understand the flipping because these chair to flip chair, it keeps on converting from one form to another, and in between whatever the intermediate forms get placed or get formed, those are also some unstable conformations. So basically there are multiple forms which take place, or which when the conversion is happening from chair to flip chair, there are a lot of other forms are forming, and those forms are also important to know the stability of the molecule. So basically there are few which are chiral, there are few which are unstable, highly unstable, so we will be talking about them. So there are multiple transitions happening in between before it reaches to this state to the other state, flip chair state. Okay. Apart from that, the second information which is important to know over here is, look at this carbon. Just concentrate on this carbon. On this carbon, this is your axial hydrogen and this is your equatorial hydrogen. Now when I'll flip it, I'll again flip it. Look at it very, very carefully. I'll again flip it, and then you tell me which has become axial and which has become equatorial. Now let me make it the flip chair. Now is it the flip chair? Right? Can you guys see this? This is the flip chair. Now the hydrogen which was axial hydrogen has become equatorial, whereas the equatorial hydrogen has become what? Axial, and that too in the opposite direction. Can you see this? Can you see this transition? So that means whenever the chair flips, your equatorial hydrogens become axial hydrogens and axial hydrogens become equatorial hydrogens. This is very, very important information. You will be using this information going forward. Okay, so that means flipping does not only just change headrest to leg rest and leg rest to headrest. Okay, apart from that, there are multiple different states come in between about which we'll be talking, which tells us the stability of the cyclohexane or different form stability or different conformers of cyclohexane. And we also got to know by this flipping is that after flipping, the molecules, every carbon's configuration, not exactly configuration, but arrangement varies a bit. Basically, your all axial positions become equatorial positions and all equatorial positions become axial positions. So basically, your whatever is present in your equatorial position will go to the axial position. Whatever is present in your axial position will go to the equatorial position. You have to remember this, and we will be using this concept again and again. Okay, so this is your flip, this is your chair, and this is your flip chair. Right, they keep on interconverting, and when they are interconverting, there are multiple forms which they are forming in between. There are different type of cyclohexane which are forming in between. One is half chair. Half chair looks like this. It's not a 3D representation, so I'm just drawing it, and moreover, you don't require these shapes very often. You just need to know their names and their stability orders. So this is your half chair, this is your twist boat, this is your boat, this is again your twist boat and half chair. So these different forms or these different structures form in between the chair to flip chair. So when the chair is becoming flip chair or flip chair is becoming chair, these transitions will happen. You will get half chair in between for a very short time, then twist boat, then twist boat, and then half chair. All of these are quite unstable species. Though when you talk about twist boat, look at this twist boat and twist boat. These twist boats are chiral in nature. So when they ask you this question, which conformation of cyclohexane is chiral? Twist boat is the one which is chiral. So how it is chiral? Look at it. These are mirror images of each other. Though mine doesn't look like mirror image, but they are exactly mirror image of each other, non-superimposable mirror images. Okay. So that's the reason why we call it chiral conformation. Okay, and this is a very important question for the competitive exams. In the JEE exam, it has been asked long back, not when it was called as JEE, earlier it was called as AIEEE, and at that time this question was asked that which of the following is the chiral conformation of cyclohexane. So twist boat is the one. Okay, now let's talk about their placement, all these conformations placement on the potential energy diagram of cyclohexane. So this is our potential energy diagram of cyclohexane. Just look at it very carefully. So when you talk about the lowest point or most stable is your chair conformation, which we have already discussed. And then when it transitions to the flip chair, from chair to flip chair, there are multiple stages where it reaches and their stability is varying, though all of these are unstable as compared to chair and flip chair. So chair and flip chair are the same structures, most stable ones, and there are intermediate structures which have the higher energy and relatively lesser stable than the chair and flip chair. So chair first gets converted into half chair. Okay, then it gets converted into twist boat. Twist boat has relatively lesser energy as compared to half chair. So half chair is more unstable. twist boat is lesser unstable, then again it reaches to a stage which is called as boat. Again the energy is increasing, hence the stability is decreasing. Then again comes your twist boat, so energy decreases down. Then again it goes to half chair conformation, which has the highest energy, hence highest instability, and then it reaches to the chair conformation again. So this is how your graph is. Okay, if somebody will ask me, write the order of the stability, chair is most stable, then comes what? Tell me, according to this graph, what should come next? Twist boat. Then comes what? Then comes your boat. And then comes what? The least stable is half chair. So this is a stability order. Or you can say energy. When you talk about the energy order, it will be opposite. So chair has the least energy, most stable, then twist boat, and then half chair. This is important. You need to know this. Okay. Now let's see one more thing. Though we have understood the flipping now, I need to show you something. Okay. Because till now, when we have seen the cyclohexane, we have not seen the substituted cyclohexane. We have just seen the cyclohexane with the hydrogen. So when we are flipping, we are just seeing the position of carbon is, the carbons are moving up and down, and that's all. We have not, the axial hydrogens are becoming equatorial, and equatorial are becoming axial. But apart from that, if there is a substitution over there, what kind of change you can see and what kind of change you should be able to relate, that is what we have to understand. So let's say this is my chair. My drawing will be very poor. I'm not using the scale over here. So try to understand and relate. Okay, so this is what I'm drawing. This is our chair conformation. Okay, very poor, very poor. Okay, this is my chair conformation. Okay, now let me just let me place methyl over here. Okay, so that we can see what change will it bring when I'll flip the molecule. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. I have marked the numberings. Now we will remark the numbering. I have fixed this carbon as the first carbon. So now the carbon is not going to change. So the first carbon has methyl group. That is what we have to understand. The first carbon has methyl. So now we have to see where this first carbon is going after flipping. So when this is flipping, this is headrest. So basically this is my molecule now. Okay, this is my first carbon. Okay, from here we are viewing it. This is my first carbon, this is my second carbon, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, and this is sixth. So see, the one which is pointing down from the leg rest, that is my fourth, and the one which is upwards, headrest top, is the first carbon. Okay, now when I'll do the flipping, this was what? This was on my axial position. These all carbons have rotated themselves to give it the right shape. Okay, now this is what? This is my flip chair. This is my flip chair, right? So the carbon has not changed. The first carbon is still here, and this hydrogen is going outwards and equatorial, right? Now let me just draw this flip chair. This flip chair will be like this. So it is something like this, right? Now this first methyl, which was pointing upwards, is now pointing downwards. So this is my first carbon. Okay, please look at it very carefully. And this is my fourth carbon, which is pointing upwards. I hope you're able to make it what I'm trying to say. The one which was pointing up is pointing down now, or the one which was pointing down is pointing up now. So this is my first carbon. Okay, and this is my fourth carbon. Now you just place the position. So this is second carbon, this is third carbon, this is fifth carbon, and this is sixth carbon. That's how the placement is. Please understand, this is important. This is very, very important. Else you will get confused when the multiple substitutions will happen. I am just showing you with the one single substitution. So now the methyl, which was pointing upwards, is now on the equatorial position, like this. Can you see the change? Please be a little patient and try to understand. This one, the first carbon which was here, that was pointing upwards, now it is pointing down, and I have written it first. And methyl, which was which was on the axial position now is moving towards the equatorial position. So basically it's on equatorial position now. And the carbon which was pointing downwards earlier is pointing upwards now. So the carbon is same. It's not changing. One thing is the whole molecule shape has got flipped, right? So even the other carbons have got flipped. So you can see even the fifth carbon which was up now is down. Not up and down, basically there I told you all the carbons will be rotating. It's not like through that single bond. It's not like only top the one which is on headrest and one which is on the leg rest is moving. Everything is gonna move with the help of this single bond, because the rotation is possible in the single bond. This is how exactly you have to number, and you have to be very careful while numbering this, else you will get confused when you will have disubstitution, trisubstitution on the cyclohexane, because you will forget where exactly was your group present and you will place it on a wrong carbon. So this is what the flipping does to a molecule. Okay. Now, when I talk about the occurrence of this and this in the cyclohexane, or you can say the presence of the form 1 and form 2 in the cyclohexane, just look at this thing. So whenever randomly we check the conformation of the cyclohexane, what we will find that most of the cyclohexane are in this form, basically methyl cyclohexane are in this form, basically in the second form rather than being in the first form. Though both are chair, both are pretty stable, but still you will find the 95% of my methyl cyclohexane is in the second form. That means the methyl is on the equatorial position rather than being on the axial position. Why is it so? Let's understand. So see, I have shown you this diagram over here. This is one carbon present over here where your CH3 is on the axial position, whereas after flipping this CH3 has gone to the equatorial position and the carbon is same. This was pointing upwards right now it is pointing downwards, right? It is the same carbon. So if I mark this as 1, this is also 1, right? You will draw it and you will be able to relate it much better. This is something which is already drawn, and hence you have to draw it with your hands so that you can get an understanding how exactly you have to draw and where exactly your carbons and the substitutions are placed. Okay, so now axial CH3 has got shifted to the equatorial one, and I told you this is your second compound and this is your first compound. Now out of first and second is more stable or mostly found whenever the cyclohexane has been taken and we have checked this conformation. It's mostly the second one. Why? Let's understand. See, this is, I'm taking an example where I'm not putting CH3 right now. I'm just trying to explain you with a small concept. So I have, this is my cyclohexane ring, and I have told you that we can place hydrogens up and down alternately. So this carbon has an up hydrogen on the axial position. This carbon also has an up hydrogen on the axial position. This carbon also has up hydrogen on the axial position. So what are these positions? Are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 1, 3, and 6. 1, 3, and 5. These are alternate positions. And alternate hydrogens are placed vertically up on the axial position. Right? Now, when you'll actually look at the distance between these three hydrogens, if you'll actually analyze the distance between these three positions, distance between one hydrogen and another in this structure is nothing but 200 picometer. The distance is only 200 picometers. So two hydrogens, though it looks like they're pretty far, but they're not far. They're very close to each other. So distance between these hydrogens is 200 picometer, whereas when you talk about the radius of hydrogen is itself 180 picometers. So basically, they are just being saved from touching each other. Or you can just say whatever their radius is, the distance is just slightly higher than that, and they are almost touching each other. Hydrogen repulsions are always minimum, always. Assume if you would have replaced this one hydrogen with some other group, as I have done it over here in the picture. I have not put hydrogen, instead I have a CH3. I have a CH3 which I have placed. So what is happening? This up axial, look at the diagram please. So this axial CH3, this axial hydrogen, this is position 1, this is position 2, this is my position 3. Look at these three hydrogens, this one, and this CH3. These three are on the upwards axial position, and though they look like they are pretty far, but they are not far. The distance is only 200 picometers. When three hydrogens were there at that time, they were just avoiding touching. So now in case of CH3, what will happen? The CH3 will come very close to the hydrogen and the repulsion will increase, which will increase the instability in the molecule, right? And this is called as axial or diaxial repulsion. Okay, so here the repulsions will increase if the group size is gonna increase. So axial position is not an ideal position for a group to be there. Hydrogens can manage without repulsion, but if any other group is being placed on the axial position, they will face repulsion because of the less distance between them and will make that molecule unstable. For example, as I said, I have taken CH3, and that is the reason why CH3, when it is in the second form, in the equatorial position, it is giving you 95% of such molecules, whereas with the CH3 on the axial position, it's only 5%. Exactly same way, if you replace it with isopropyl, let's say, isopropyl is further a bigger group. If it is further bigger group, furthermore repulsion is possible, and the distance will be lesser and diaxial repulsions will happen, which will make it further unstable. So when you will ask me, if I place isopropyl on axial and isopropyl on equatorial again will be much more stable, and the yield will be even better than the 95%. It will be somewhere around 97%. You take a further bigger group, let's say third butyl or something like that, then it will be the whole molecule itself will be in the equatorial position only. Basically, your whole third, in the whole cyclohexane, your third butyl will be on the equatorial position only. So flipping will happen, but flipping will happen rarely, just because, or when the flip will happen, it will that transition will be so fast that it will not stay in that particular form where your third butyl is going to be on the axial position. Okay, so this is what exactly we talk about, or this is what exactly we should know, that which form is more stable. Even in two boats, when you have a substitution, you have to see which boat is more stable. Mind it, when you're talking about the functional groups, when you're talking about the groups like alkyl groups, these should be on the equatorial position, not on the axial position, to avoid the repulsion. This is exactly what I have written in the next slide. In the next slide, I have mentioned that this repulsion is called as diaxial repulsion. First form will be less stable due to diaxial repulsion, whereas on the equatorial position, if the group is placed, it will be better stable. And given some example like isopropyl, third butyl fluorine, their second forms, all the time second form will be more stable than the first form, but the percentage will vary. You don't have to remember the percentage. You should just know that the group on equatorial position is more stable than the group on the axial position, because there will be repulsions over there. Okay, that's all for now. And now next we will talk about the cyclohexanes which are substituted, their cis and trans forms. That is what we are going to understand in the next video.